All right, so we're out here again at Rowley Country Club doing our short game series. Today we're going to talk about getting out of the sand. And what we like to do with this is we like to try and make this as comfortable as possible, as easy a motion as possible, but something that has you be confident when you're in here. What I like to do when I start off is I like to try and start off with just making a line in the sand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this demonstration, and I want you to do the same thing with me on the other side.
Okay.
But what we're going to do is we're going to make a line right across the sand. What I want you to do is I want you to put your forward foot, the foot that's closest to the target, just on the outside edge of that line. And what we're going to do for a practice to try and get this, and I love this drill to be able to get out of the sand, is that rather than hitting balls to start off, what we're going to do is we're going to start with just displacing the sand.
Okay.
So what I want you to think about doing, I've got 3 targets up here. One is the forward target. I also have a mid target and one that's closer to the pin.
Yep.
And the idea is to try and displace the sand to the first target, to the second target, and to the third target. Obviously, if we're doing it, if I'm displacing the sand and I only want to displace it to here, I don't have very far to go. But if I'm trying to get it out of that, I want to try and make sure that what we're doing is we're hitting the sand to displace the ball, not hitting the ball.
Yep.
And that's the key to this shot. So what I want you to do is I want you to stand with me. You're going to stand a little bit open to the target, so your chest and your body should be pointed a little bit inside of this line. And what I want you to do is I want you to practice being able to get your swing so that you can get that line. And what I want you to do is first to the first stake, second to the mid stake, and then all the way up to the green. And notice that the further that I want the ball to go, the less sand that's displaced. But I still need to displace the sand. Go ahead and give me a try here.
So I'm going to go short first.
Yep. Good. Now long. Good.
Much sand in it.
One more. And this is basically all we're doing when we're in here hitting that ball is we're trying to displace that sand. What we do is we take the most lofted club, or one of the most lofted. For me, I've got a 56, and I used a 56 because I know that you have a 56 in your hand. And what we want to do is I want you to practice, and what generally what we do when we're setting up for this shot is that when I put the ball just on the inside of that front foot, a little bit open, as I said, to that line. And then what I want you to think about doing is that there's a couple of things that you can do when you're in the sand. Number one, if you've ever seen these guys on tour and you see them, they come in and they're digging their feet into the sand. The reason that we dig the feet into the sand are twofold. One, so that we can get better stability in the sand. But number two, because I can't ground my club in the sand, touch my club before I swing, I want to be able to figure out how loose that sand is. How much sand am I going to need to displace, and how hard am I going to need to swing? And that gives me an idea as to how fluffy the sand is, how compact the sand is. And I can tell just by doing this that this sand is pretty compact.
Yeah.
It's not quite as fluffy as I would probably have for some course, but this is what we're working with out here. So what I want you to think about doing for the stance is I want you to think in that stance of getting yourself a little bit wider with the stance and then bending those knees. And the reason being is because I can lower my center of gravity over the top of the ball.
Yeah.
And then the key to this shot is to try and keep that club face open. So what I always like a good drill is to try and get that almost facing just to the inside the joint of my back leg. So if I have my foot, my club back, it's almost pointing to the back part of that leg. And it gets me to be able to keep that club face open, and it gets me to keep that club hitting the ground before I hit the ball. It allows me to be able to focus more on just being able to swing freely as opposed to having to try and catch that sand. I don't want to try and, if I feel like I'm in here and I'm working too hard to get the sand to move, I probably am.
Yeah.
Let the club do what it was designed to do. Keep that loft on the club and keep that bounce on the club. It's going to help that club be able to move under and through. Then all we want to do is focus on those same release points that we talked about. Getting it out so that it's low, getting it out so that it's mid, and getting it out so that it's high, and displacing enough sand to get to each one of those spots. Similar.
So is the swing, Brent, is the swing shallow
The swing
or
is
steep?
the swing is generally coming in underneath that ball.
Yeah.
So if we get too steep, that's when we're going to be digging that club. Steepness is going to take that angle, that loft off the club,
Okay.
and have us digging that club through. For example, widen the stance, get myself a little bit low, keep that club face open, and then all I'm doing is I'm pointing to that back pocket, and watch, I'm not going to even swing really that hard.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot for me to be able to get that ball to move out. Most people feel like when I'm in here I got to swing really hard, and that generally gets my hands moving forward, and it gets that club digging, like you said, on that downward slope.
Okay.
So keep that club face open, point this back just a little bit, and then just it's a nice easy swing. And all I want to try and do is displace that sand. That obviously took a little bit too much sand. But all I'm trying to do is keep that club face open and keep that club moving underneath that ball. And the more sand I get, the less it goes. The less sand I get, the further it goes. Go ahead and give me a try.
Right. Out here?
Yeah. Remember to try and keep that end pointed just a little bit more towards the back so I can get that
Oh, yeah, it's
scoop
this-
underneath,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. Now if I,
Ball.
now if I want that ball to get higher,
Finish on.
I gotta finish that high.
Right.
So same thing. Open that up and then finish. Turn your whole body when you finish right up through to that target. Keep that wide base. Yeah, keep that wide base right in tight. So this is, if you notice where this position is, this is off of that inside toe.
Yeah.
But remember, if we had that line right here, this
be a
foot
little
is on
further.
this side, right?
Okay.
So stay over even a little bit further. Foot is like over here on this side. Yeah, move over. And it's kind of almost like a squat position,
Yeah.
right? So that you're coming right underneath that sand.
Too much.
Nice and light with that grip. Nice and light with that grip, right up and underneath. Good. You notice that the less work, if it seems
Yeah,
like
that's
you're
nice.
doing, I remember as I said, if it seems
Yeah.
like you're doing the work, then the club is not
Yeah.
doing its job. And you want that club to work as effectively as possible. It was put in there for a reason. So over this way just a little bit, this way. Yeah, remember it's off of the inside of
So
that
off the
front foot.
inside.
So
Okay, yeah.
right there. So your foot shouldn't be on the other side of this line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it should be here.
Yeah, you can move that foot.
Yeah.
Don't readjust yourself. And get those knees
All
bent.
right, so it looks, all right.
Yeah, get those knees bent. Good. Good. Still try and finish high though, right? I want you to be able to kind of get underneath it and then finish high with that, right?
Yeah.
Nice and soft.
Nice.
Nice and soft. Finish high. good position though. Really nice position here. Keep those knees bent.
Mhm.
It's almost like Gary Player said. It's like lighting the match. You're kind of going right
Yeah.
through.
Okay.
Still finishing kind of low. Get
Yeah,
that
low,
club
huh?
moving up underneath. Right?
Okay.
This is the spot we're trying to take out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the setup is always behind that ball. Think about hitting that mark underneath. Nice and high with that finish. Good. Give me one more. Remember, hands move back and hands move through.
Mhm.
Try to catch that sand. Don't be afraid to keep that sand moving.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
it's that spot that I'm trying to dig out, not where the ball is.
Mhm.
Good. Much better.
That was good. Yeah.
Much better.
Much better.
So the idea behind this is what I want you to do when you're out on the golf course is rather than just coming and playing the hole,
Yeah.
and saying, gee, I avoided this bunker. That's a great thing. I want you to get in here and I want you to practice that a couple of times. So each time you go around and you see a bunker, just hop in, take them, go
Yeah.
near the rake. And what I want you to do is I want you to try and practice that stance in that position.
Mhm.
And I want you to practice on getting that spot to move to where those stakes are. And that's how you're going to start to learn that distance control
Yeah.
and be much more comfortable in here. That way, when you get in the next time and you're playing and the ball happens to be in here, you'll already
no.
have a feel as to how it is that you're supposed to get that club moving and going through. Do that, you'll be more successful. More balls on the green mean more chances for you to get that putter working.
Sure. All right. Thank you.